Hello techies, now we will cover up with some more important topics regarding SAP. So let's start with Cloud Connector. Cloud Connector is a separate system in SAP. Cloud Connector is a small software installed in your on-premise network that creates a secure tunnel between your on-premise service and SAP BTP, that is Business Technology Platform, or any cloud premise. For example, if some of your systems are on premise while others are on cloud and they need to communicate with each another, so for that purpose cloud connector is used. It kind of creates a network, a connection between the on premise and the cloud services, cloud systems. So normally, a cloud system cannot directly access on-premise system, and opening firewall inbound ports is risky. Cloud Connector solves this by creating outbound secure tunnel, mapping only allowed resources, encrypting communication, and hiding internal system details. So basically, Cloud Connector is a small kind of software that helps communication between the on-premise systems and the cloud systems, like without the risk, like while protecting this system details. Like it takes care of security and a secure communication. Okay, so is it used in all the scenarios? No. Cloud connector is not required in all the landscape. It is not required in scenarios when everything is either on premise or on cloud. If all the systems or the entire landscape of SAP is on, say, AWS cloud or Azure cloud, or entire system is on customer network or on premise, then cloud connector is not required. But if it is a hybrid scenario, that is required. You can further understand it with an example here. Like SAP BTP app needs to fetch data from on-premise ECC. It means SAP BTP app needs a connection with the on-premise ECC system. So the connection is the more main important part. Like for communicating, they will need a connection mechanism, right? So here the cloud connector is used. Okay. So you can go through the details on the slide. It will help you understand in detail, but I'm just summarizing whatever points are written there. Okay, so let's move. Now let us understand the architecture. So how is the architecture? Suppose as a user, you connect with the BTP, like the BTP platform, any system on the BTP platform, that system goes to cloud connector, and like this is a mechanism, like the cloud connector creates a communication mechanism between this and this. Okay, as the name suggests, cloud connector, it means connecting cloud resources with the on-premise system. Okay, so Cloud Connector is installed on on-premise network. This is not installed on cloud, on-premise network near the SAP backend systems and behind the firewall. Okay, it is on the other side of the firewall, so that the communication is established and this is not blocked. Okay, it creates outbound HTTP connection to BTP, that is port 443, and no inbound firewall opening is needed. So basically, this is the architecture. This entire thing is in this small array kind of thing. Like user connects with BTP, BTP connects to on-premise service using Cloud Connector. Now, how is it installed? So, like normal web dispatcher or any other system, we download the executables or the .sar files from the SAP support portal. Similarly, we need that files for Cloud Connector as well. Install it on Linux or Windows and access it through this link via browser. Okay, then you have to log in, connect to BTP sub account, enter sub account ID, region, authenticity, add the systems that are required, that are to be like connection is to be established with systems. You have to set in the host name, port name, protocol, which protocol is to be used. So these are the certain steps that you need to understand. When you like see it live or do it for yourself, you can refer this PPT, or I'll come up with a video on this that will be more clear. But to have a rough idea, the process is similar to installing a web dispatcher. There the port numbers and host name and message server details are required, as we discussed in the previous video. And here You need a backend system, host name, the systems that are to be connected to the network, RFC destinations, and all these things. Okay. Now, this was about Cloud Connector. So, to summarize, Cloud Connector is basically a standalone installation, a software that is used to establish a secure connection between the systems on on-premise network and cloud. If all the systems are on on-premise or all the systems are on cloud, no Cloud Connector is required. Okay, so Cloud Connector installation files are downloaded from the SAP support portal. SAP support portals, then we can install it on Windows or Linux. There is a certain BTP account that it needs host name, the systems that are to be configured, RFC connection, all these things are to be configured using Cloud Connector. And we will come up with a video on this soon, like how it actually works, that we will see. Apart from this, this is a network like user connects to BTP, BTP goes connects to the end system through Cloud Connector. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, that is high availability. We have discussed in a previous video about database replication and high availability for database system. Now let's start with application. Okay, so for application layer or the application, we do not have a like live replication, because application layer generally consists of the execution part. Okay, there is no data stored in the application. The data is in the database part only. So the critical part stays in the database. However, application is important, because if there is no application, no processing or data retrieving mechanism will be available. So it is also important, but HANA database or any database replication is something that is more critical compared to application. Okay, so now how does the application layer is supported with HA? HA is high availability. In case one of the system or one of the instance fails, then how the other takes it up. Okay, so for HANA application, we have multiple application servers. Like for suppose you have ABAP system, say solution ABAP system, solution manager ABAP system, it will have more than one host. Okay, this is a standard SAP approach. It already, like we already know that when a system is installed, it has multiple instances like app central instance, application instance, additional application instance, dialog instance. Okay, so similarly we have, but for the entire system, we have only one central instance like ASCS. Okay, this is something that takes care of the load balancing. Like this service has the message server, this service takes care of lock unlock. For example, if some user is working on any table and at the same time some other user also tries to access the same table or make changes in the same table, that will create data inconsistency. So to avoid these things, there is a lock unlock mechanism that is used. Like this is just an example. There are many other use cases. So that thing is also taken care of with the ASCS. ASCS is the central service, and it is the default. It is installed default by the with the application. Okay. Then there are dialog instances, like application servers. There are other application servers. Okay, so now if one app server crashes, user automatically connect to other server. Like with three application servers, if one of this is down, the load will automatically be distributed to the other systems. And the load distribution, that is load balancing, is done by the web dispatcher in normal scenarios, that also we have discussed in a previous video. So you can always go back and watch them on the channel. Okay, so now when one system goes down, the load of that one server goes down, the load of that server will go to other servers. It will be distributed. That is, load balancing will be done with that. Okay, so there is no data loss because database is anyway safe. We are here concerned about the application layer only. Okay, we are talking about the application thing only. So since one of the dialog instance or application instance goes down, the others are available. So our data is safe and the processing is load balanced with other systems, like other instances. It is distributed. Okay. But now, if the application layer is installed only one host, then there is no high availability. Okay, if I have only one application server, then there is no other server that will be that will be used in case of failure. So in case of host failure, recovery depends upon OS backup, VM restore, or rebuilding the application instance on another server. Since application servers are stateless and business data resides in database, they can be reinstalled and reaccounted to the database without data loss. However, downtime will occur. For true high availability scenarios, multiple application servers or clustering must be implemented. Okay, so as long as only application layer is concerned, we generally have more than one host and that is the SAP recommended standard. But in case if we have only one host and that too goes down, then we do not have any other option. We will have to install a new application and connect it with a database, or we have to like what kind of failure it is, depending upon that we can take a backup and restore the system, or in case if any of the options doesn't work, like restoring doesn't work, we have to install a new application system and then we have to connect it with the database. So that is something that is little crucial. There will be downtime because application will not be available as long as the installation is completed and the configuration is done. So in that case, downtime will occur. So the best scenario is having multiple application instances, multiple application hosts, and at the same time clustering. So now, if since we discussed here that multiple applications are there, this scenario we have discussed in this slide. If one application is there, what will happen? We have discussed in this slide. Now, if app server crashes, app server 2, I mean here app server 2, we are talking about the central instance. Okay, so if the central instance, every system will have only one central instance. So if central instance goes down, message server will not be working, logs and NQ server will not be working. If message server is not working, load balancing will not happen, web dispatcher will not get the details about the load inside the system, new logins will go to the remaining servers, but load balancing will be hampered. Existing users may get disconnected, jobs will fail wherever the lock and unlock mechanism or NQ server is used, that kind of jobs will fail, but the system will overall be up. This is basic high availability. Okay, this we are talking about the ASCS instance. Okay, that is central instance. So if it is goes on, system is severely affected. So this needs a special high availability. So do not get confused here. What I'm trying to say is there is a central instance that is the main or that is used throughout the system. Like each system will have only one central instance. ASCS is the central instance that consists of message server and lock unlock mechanism, that is NQ server. If this goes down, then no other instance is going to take up the responsibility of message server because we do not have multiple ASCS servers on a single system. So high availability for ASCS is also important. How is that taken care? That we'll discuss next. Okay, ASCS is protected using cluster setup, shared storage, virtual host name or IP. In Linux, we use pacemaker cluster, and in Windows, we use failover cluster. So, in case if primary central instance fails, cluster detects failure by itself and moves it to the secondary home. And in case of virtual IP shift, log table is recovered and there is less or minimum downtime. Okay, so what is done here is if we have Linux as the operating system, we have a pacemaker cluster here. What this pacemaker does is it identifies if the ACS server is down, instance is down, and automatically the backup ACS cluster that is set up for this scenario will come up and there will be no or minimum downtime. And similar thing will happen in case of Windows with the help of Windows failover cluster. Okay. Now, application servers do not need replication like DB. We have discussed this before because it does not contain the main data. The data lies only in the database. So, no business data is stored. Configuration is also stored in DB. Program files can be reinstalled. But so the emergency strategy here is OS backup, profile backup, kernel backup, reinstall application instance, much simpler than the DB recovery. As in the starting of the video, I told you that application servers HA is not as complex as DB. Okay, so basically, this is it about the application server. So, to summarize, application server HA or disaster recovery is not as complex as for DB because main application is used for execution purpose and the main data lies in database. So, in case there is a single host and the application server fails and the host for the application server fails, then we can reinstall it in worst case scenario that will obviously have a downtime, but since our database is secure, the data loss will not be there. Or if we have multiple hosts, then if one of them goes down, the load of one host will be automatically distributed between the remaining hosts. In case the central instance, that is ASCS, fails, then there also we need a special what we say, there is something called as ERS that we'll discuss later, but that kind of backup mechanism is required. In Linux, this is done using Pacemaker, and in Windows also, it is done using Windows failover cluster. So, what happens in case of central instance failing? The backup system that is configured, or the backup host that is configured just for central instance, will come up and take care of the lock and queue mechanism. In case ASCS is not working, what will happen? The load balancing thing will be disrupted. Web dispatcher will not get details about the load balancing, so it will use the last updated details that it have to load balance. Load on the on a particular instance might increase, it might also go down. Lock unlock mechanism will not be working, so the task that requires or uses, or the function that uses this kind of mechanism requires lock unlock thing, that will be hampered, that will fail. And when this continues for some time, the system will become unstable and the data will become inconsistent. Okay, so ultimately the entire system will go down. So this is the importance of the ASCS instance, that is a central instance. Okay, now moving on to the operation mode. Operation mode is something that is not majorly asked, but it's something you should be aware of, and someone can ask you. So it is not something which is very difficult to remember or understand, but since it is a analogy kind of thing, or you can say a SAP related jargon, or some internal words that you should be aware as a fresher. So, operation mode is a feature in SAP that allows you to dynamically redistribute the work processes based on time without restarting the system. It helps manage system load efficiently during changing peak hours, night batch processing, or the weekend processing. So, operation mode is basically a mechanism, or we can say a kind of automation that can be done within the SAP system, so that the system changes the number of dialogue and background processes, or the work processes dynamically by itself, so that the load on the system can be managed accordingly. For example, if I'm working in the morning and I know the load on my system is very much during peak office hours, I have 30 background jobs to be scheduled, and I have 50 dialogue users that are simultaneously working at the same time. So what I can do is, I know that in the evening, when the office or the shift hours are over, the dialogue users will reduce, and I have only 20 dialogue users and the 30 background jobs. So what I can do is, I can interchange the number of dialogue and background work processes accordingly. So I have more number of dialogue users. At that time, I can use more number of dialogue work processes, and when the number of dialogue users decrease, I can also decrease the dialogue work processes and increase the background, so that the background jobs can be run and finished during the off hours. Okay, so this type of mechanism is called operation mode in SAP. So how does this typically work is, this are the instance parameters, instance profile parameters. Okay. This is our disk. uh, WP stands for work process, NO stands for number, DI stands for dialogue, BTC for background, SPO for spool. Spool is used for printing. So these are the basic parameters where the number is adjusted. This configuration is done using transaction code RZ04. Okay, create mode. These are the steps. Create mode, assign work process distribution. Like you will have to update the parameters like this parameters there. Then create mode night. Create and assign the web dispatch work process distribution. Similarly, you have to maintain timetable in SM36, like which mode will be active during which hours. Okay. Now, what happens between the switch is SAP waits for running work process to finish, and as soon as the running process is completed, new processes start with the new configuration. Okay, here no system restart is required, no downtime is required, no user is disturbed. This switching happens automatically by itself. Okay, so here we come up with the profile parameters. I've already told you that RZ10 and RZ11 are the transaction codes where you can view the profile parameters, and here RZ04 is for operation mode specifically. Okay, now after the profile parameters are updated, a restart is required. Operation mode means no restart is required. Like you can do this task manually also, but that is not like you cannot just log in daily at the same time and change the number of work processes. So instead of doing it manually daily, that is a kind of automation that can be done, and you do not need to restart the system. Like once you set up the operation mode automation using transaction RZ04. Okay. Now, operation mode in SAP allows dynamic redistribution of work process such as dialogue and background work process based on predefined time schedules without restarting the system. It is configured using transaction code RZ04 and scheduled via SM63. Okay. SM36 is for background job creation, SM37 is for background job log checking, and SM63 is for time zone, like scheduling time zone based. Okay, it helps optimize system performance by allocating more dialog process during peak user hours and more background process during batch processing. However, it does not increase the total number of work processes, it only redistributes them. Like, for instance, if your system is having 30 work process, it will have 30 only. What it will do is, it will just redistribute these work processes among various instances. Okay, so this is the same thing that we have discussed, but this is a kind of one line or like one short answer that can be given, and this covers up entire all the slides whatever we have discussed. Okay, now after this we have something called as ERS. I hope we just discussed it regarding ERS, so you might be having it basic understanding. Now, ERS is NQ replication server. As you remember, we have just discussed about the central instance going down and the log NQ and the message server. Okay, so ERS is used to replicate the log table of NQ server to a standby node. ERS keeps a real-time copy of SAP logs on another server to prevent log loss during ASCS, that is Central Instance Failure. ERS is NQ replication server. It basically replicates the log status from the central instance to a separate host so that in case of failure that can be quickly used. Okay, logs are stored in memory of NQ server. If the app central instance crashes, memory is lost and logs disappear. That can cause data inconsistency, and ERS helps to solve this problem. How ERS works is, primary node is central instance is running on the primary node, NQ server is active, log table is in memory, and in secondary node ERS is running. It continuously replicates the actions of the ASCS. So every time a log is created, a log is deleted, a log is updated, at the same time, these details are also getting updated at the ERS. The NQ server sends that changes immediately to ERS, so at any point in time, Central instance and ERS are at the same stage. In case central instance host crashes, cluster detects a failure, cluster stops ERS is promoted to central instance, and ASCA starts as secondary node. Log table is then restored to ERS, like the positions of central instance and ERS is changed automatically during a failure. System continues with same logs. Okay. Now, if is ERS automatically installed, it is not installed automatically. It must be installed separately, configured manually, and then integrated with the cluster. During SAP installation, you choose if this instance is required. ASCS and ERS are two different instance type. Okay, does ERS without work without a cluster? Yes, ERS works without a cluster, but there the switch will not happen automatically. Like if your central instance go down, you have to manually update the ERS to take place of the central instance. Okay, the same thing is written here. You can just go through the slide once. Now, to check monitoring on monitor ERS, there are two transaction codes SM51, which is used to check the work process list. You remember? So SM51 instance can be checked here, like it is used to check the instances. Here you will find the ERS as well. And for log entries, you have SM12. So we come to the end of ERS here. I hope we are good to go ahead. If there is anything that is still missed, you can always comment in the comment section. Go through the video. You can also refer to some another material that will be available on the internet in case you find something tricky or something that is still not clear. We can always come up and discuss with another video. Okay, so let's end it here. Let's not keep it much long. So we'll meet up in the next videos with BAPI, BADI, and Solution Manager. What is early watch and change management in Solution Manager? Why is that required? So that kind of stuff we'll discuss in the next video. So please subscribe to the channel to not miss the latest update, and thank you for watching.